What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm reviewing the upcoming Adidas Yeezy Boost 380 Mist Non-Reflective. So today's kind of special because not only am I reviewing this pair of 380s, but I'm also actually giving it away, so make sure to stay tuned till later on in the video to find out how you can win. Recently, a lot of things have been changing and a lot of things have been going on, and obviously I don't need to get into that because you guys all know what's going on, but I got a couple comments in some of my previous videos where people were saying that I shouldn't be putting out videos about sneakers just because it's kind of ridiculous that I'm still talking about sneakers at a time like this, and I completely disagree with that. I feel like what I want to bring to you guys is what I would want in this exact same situation, and that's a sense of normality, giving you guys something to take your mind off things. And even though you don't want to buy every pair of sneakers that are coming out right now, even though there's still not a lot of pairs of sneakers coming out right now, I feel like if you love sneakers, this is something fun that you can watch to just stop thinking about all the craziness going on. So hopefully I can help take your mind off of things, and I'm going to continue to keep putting out content, in fact more regularly than usual, so that you guys have something to watch and you guys have something to count on. And let's be honest, this gives me something to do to keep myself sane. So you guys are also helping me in that way. But enough of that, let's start talking about sneakers, the reason you guys are all here. So as you all know from the title and the thumbnail of the video, this is the Yeezy Boost 380 Mist in the non-reflective variant. The reflective variant of this pair dropped a couple weeks back, and from what I remember, it was a Yeezy Supply exclusive. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. This pair is essentially the exact same colorway without 3M woven in. And while it's still going to be a limited sneaker, it shouldn't be as limited as a reflective pair that dropped a couple weeks back. The non-reflective Yeezy 380 Mist drops on March 25th for a retail price of $230. And like I said, later on in the video, you'll actually have a chance to win this pair for yourself, so make sure to stay tuned. So this is technically the third Yeezy 380 SKU, or the third version of 380s that have released. And I think out of all three pairs that have dropped, the Alien is still my favorite. And to be completely honest and transparent, I still think I like the 350 silhouette better than the 380s just because I think it looks better. There's nothing wrong with this sneaker, but there's definitely some comparisons to be made, and I think visually that sneaker wins. However, there are actually a lot of things that I like better about this shoe than the 350s, comfort being probably the biggest one of those things. So jumping into the materials of the sneaker itself, the upper is made up primarily of primeknit. It has a slightly different feel and texture from the primeknit on the 350s. It's definitely thinner at points and also feels a lot less rough. The actual pattern on the upper of the 380 Mist is the same pattern that you find on the Aliens, except of course it comes in a different colorway. You've got tans or super light oranges, you've got light browns, you've got blues, you've got greens. It's a very interesting colorway. Not sure why they called it mist. Usually when I think of mist, I think of clear or blue, but that's just me. They could have, had a different sort of inspiration. I don't know what it could be, but they must have. I do like this colorway a lot, and I appreciate that Yeezy and Kanye West are doing things differently, especially in the colorway department. However, I still think I prefer the Alien colorway to this colorway. This one's just a little bit too almost orange for me. I don't know, that's kind of a tan color. It just looks so different in different lighting. It's crazy. Running down the center of the shoe, as you would expect from a pair of low-top Yeezys, you've got a seam that separates the two different mirrored sides of the upper. What I mean by that is that the primeknit pattern on the lateral side is just a mirrored version of the primeknit pattern on the medial side, or vice versa. The primeknit definitely gets a little bit softer and more stretchy as you move farther up on the shoe towards the ankle. And of course, moving up the sneaker, you've got your light brown, or in some lighting, orange laces weaving through the upper of the sneaker. On my last video where I was reviewing the Aliens, I sort of experimented with moving these rope laces through these little holes in the side of the sneaker, and it's something that you can do if you want to change up the lacing system. I wouldn't recommend it because it doesn't actually look that cool. I thought it would, but it didn't. It's just something you can do if you want to personalize the sneaker. Speaking of these holes, a majority of them are actually through this plastic mesh that makes up a majority of the side panel of the shoe. This plastic mesh almost looks like one claw mark, like if a dinosaur from Jurassic Park happened to get out and scratch your shoes, only one claw would. That was a stupid metaphor. You know what I'm saying. It's definitely a much more organic look than the stripe on the side of the 350 V2s, and I just don't think I like it as much. It's more interesting, but I don't think it's as clean. Something else about the midfoot of this shoe, which I never thought of, but a couple people pointed out to me, is that these little holes actually trigger their tryptophobia, which is a fear of small holes all close together. And while it doesn't trigger me, I can definitely see where people are coming from with that point. It's an interesting detail, I don't mind it, but to each his own, and if you don't like the way this sneaker looks, don't buy it. The plastic mesh comes in sort of a light orange or tan color to match the laces, and it's actually woven directly into the primeknit. One thing that I'm personally not a huge fan of about this detail is how glossy it is. On the medial side, you have a similar detail, and you also have plastic mesh, but it doesn't look as glossy, especially not in the light. Around the top of the ankle, Adidas and Yeezy decided to change things up with a brand new sock-like ankle collar. It's definitely smaller than the opening on the 350s, and it does make it a little bit more difficult to get your feet into the shoe. Like, I don't think you could just do it by sliding your foot into it. I think you actually have to grab both ends and pull it open to get your foot into it, but at the end of the day, it's not any less comfortable, and as long as you're wearing a pair of socks, it shouldn't chafe against your foot. Moving inside the sneaker, your foot is pretty much just up against raw primeknit, except for the heel area where you've got this small area of padded white sock liner. The insole of the shoe comes in sort of a sail white with the Adidas and Yeezy branding printed on the heel in black. As for sizing, the Yeezy Boost 380 Mist fits just like the Yeezy Boost 380 Alien. But if you've never tried on a pair of 380s before, they do fit relatively similarly to the 350s. If you go up half a size in your 350s, I would probably recommend doing the same thing in the 380s. However, this shoe is a little bit more loose than the 350s, so you could get away with wearing it true to size, which is what I do. Personally, I like wearing this shoe true to size because I've got slightly more narrow feet, and it also feels a little bit more snug, and I just like that about it. So that's what I do in this shoe. I don't take out the insole like I do in the 350 V2s, and true to size just works for me. But as I always suggest, and I realize that's going to be really difficult right now, but if you have the chance to try this shoe on first before you buy it, make sure to do that to make sure you're grabbing the right size for you. And then moving around to the back of the sneaker, you have one of the plainest heel areas of any Yeezy Boost sneaker. You just have plain primeknit with a seam running down the center. Then moving down on the shoe, you get to the extremely smooth and matte semi-translucent midsole. Unlike the Alien colorway, the Mist colorway doesn't have any sort of pattern printed on it, and I'm fine with that. I think it looks crazy enough as it is. As iconic as that midsole ribbing detail was on the 350s and the 750s, I feel like Kanye has kind of moved past that and is going for a more organic look, and I don't mind it. One of my favorite things about this midsole, at least aesthetically, is that unlike the 350s, where the outsole actually wraps up under the heel and kind of looks like a mistake, on the 380s you just have a very clean seam which connects both sides of the midsole together. It's a simple detail, but in my opinion, it makes this shoe look so much cleaner. As you can see through this rubber, you've actually got a full-length Boost midsole, which does have slightly more boost than the Yeezy Boost 350s. I've got to say that while I think the 350 V2s look better than the 380s, the 380s are much more comfortable. And that's due to a few different reasons. The first is that I think there's a little bit more boost in the midsole, which makes it slightly softer underfoot. The second is actually the way that the upper of this shoe is cut. If you look at the upper of the sneaker, the area around the toe is a lot wider than it is on the 350 V2s, and it doesn't come to a point like the 350 V2s. And because of that, after a couple hours of wearing this shoe, it feels a lot better on feet. Your toes aren't like scrunched together like they are in the 350 V2s, and it just allows you to have more breathing room, and I just really like the way it feels on foot. And then the final thing that makes the 380s more comfortable than the 350s is actually the way that the heel sweeps up. Because the heel of the shoe has this pretty dramatic upward sweep, it actually allows you to walk much more naturally in the shoe. I don't think this is how people walk, but you sort of get my idea. The 350s, on the other hand, have this giant bump on the heel which always catches when you walk, and you don't notice it until you're wearing this shoe and you realize how much more comfortable this shoe is just because of this sweep. But continuing on to the bottom of the sneaker, you've got the semi-translucent dark gum outsole. Obviously you can see some pretty organic shaped cutouts through to the Boost, which allow the Boost to compress when you stand on it, which means it's going to be a little bit softer underfoot. You've also got this very interesting sort of herringbone traction pattern, which in my opinion makes this shoe much more grippy than the 350 V2s. The Yeezy Boost 380 Mist is an excellent sneaker, and I definitely prefer the way that it feels on my foot over any pair of 350s. And while I never thought that the 350s were an uncomfortable shoe, this shoe is just that much more comfortable. Visually, I prefer the Alien colorway over the Mist colorway, and obviously I prefer the 350s over the 380s, but I still think it's a really interesting looking shoe, and I think it's going to get a lot of people's attention. Obviously, this is a non-reflective colorway, which means that there's no 3M in the upper, and the only real difference between this pair and that pair is that that pair has a very shiny upper because of the 3M, and that's about it. Availability wise, I'm not sure how easy or hard these sneakers are going to be to get, especially now that most physical locations are closed. I personally think that these will be more available and easier to get than the reflective colorway, just because usually reflective colorways are more limited. But to be honest, I just don't know how difficult these sneakers will be to get. So all I can say is that if you want these shoes, enter every raffle you can, and hope that you win. That's about it. But now on to how you can win this exact pair of Yeezy Boost 380 Mists in a size 9 for yourself. Entering the giveaway is really simple and easy. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram at @RealSethFowler. There'll be a link in the description below. And then go to the picture of this pair of 380s on my Instagram profile, like that picture, and comment done. So it's 4 steps total. 2 of them you may have already done, which is subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram. And then the final 2 steps are to like this picture and comment done underneath it. The giveaway is open worldwide, and if for some reason because of current events things aren't able to ship, I'll hold on to these shoes, and if you win, you'll definitely get them. It just might not be next week. But as of right now, everything looks okay with shipping, so it shouldn't be a problem. The giveaway ends at 6 p.m. Eastern on the day that these sneakers are released, which is March 25th, and the winner will be picked that night and either announced that night or the following day. But that's all there is to it. Subscribe, follow, like, and comment. I hope whoever wins these shoes is really excited about them, and if you're not a size 9, don't feel bad selling them or trading them or whatever. If you win this pair of sneakers, it's yours. Do whatever you want with it. But at this point, I would love to know your thoughts on the Yeezy Boost 380 Mist Non-Reflective and whether you plan to grab this pair for yourself when they drop on March 25th. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.